Thank you all for joining us again. My name is Paige. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am one of your psychology department undergraduate advisors. I'm also a very proud UCSC alum, considering what's on my desk right here. I actually didn't study psychology. I double majored in literature and education, democracy, and justice. But I had a lot of great opportunities to work with the psych department while I was a student over at Counseling and Psychological Services. So I'm really excited to work with you all. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Julia, to introduce herself to you all.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a UCSC psychology alum and now one of your undergraduate advisors for psychology. And I'll pass it over to Ryan.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm also a psychology alum, 2019, and I'm one of your undergraduate advisors. I'll pass it on to Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm the field study director for the psychology department. And so you'll probably work with me a little bit further, or actually, yeah, in the next 2 years while you're here at UCSC. I look forward to working with you. I am not an alum of UCSC, but I love working here. I've been on campus for about 4.5 years, and I've been with the department about 2.5 of those. So I look forward to working with you. And I'll pass it on to Wendy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Kusunoki. I'm the undergraduate program coordinator and assistant manager. I have been working at UCSC for 2 years now. I'm not an alum, but I've definitely enjoyed my time here and look forward to seeing you all visiting us in the office. And I will pass it on to our department chair, Dr. Ben Storm.
Thanks, Wendy. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Welcome to UCSC and to the psychology department. We've got some great classes here in psychology and cognitive science, and I hope you can get the full experience now that you're here. We have special areas of emphasis in cognitive psychology, social psychology, and developmental psychology. We also have classes in clinical and other things. I encourage you, get involved with labs, talk to your professors, talk to your TAs, and the 2 years will go by fast. So the quicker you can get involved, the better. My personal research is on memory and cognition. I'm really interested in how people forget and why they forget and how that's not actually a terrible thing. It's part of an adaptive memory system. And my classes, I teach classes on memory and cognition, and the other class I teach quite often is research methods, which hopefully I'll have some of you. Right. Well, welcome. Next, I'll introduce Suhua, our vice chair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Suhua Wang. I'm the vice chair and the director of undergraduate affairs. I work with this wonderful advising team on all aspects of your experience here. Welcome to UCSC. I'm also a professor here. I'm in the developmental psychology area. I study babies and young children's learning and development. My work is interdisciplinary in the sense that it focuses on child development, but it also connects to cognitive process and the social system biases and so on. I also collaborate with professors in education and folks in engineering. And I've had the fortune to work with quite a lot of transfer students in my research lab. One of the projects that we recently presented is with families in the Watsonville area, nearby area. They're all speaking Spanish. We interviewed parents about their experience having a small child, and so on. So welcome, and our advisors will guide you through the process, your next 2 years here. I hope that you stay connected with us. There will be a lot of opportunities for you to make the best of the times here. Welcome again.
Thank you, Suhan. Thank you to my whole team for introducing yourselves to all of our lovely new students. So we're just going to get started on our presentation portion. Again, welcome to the Psych department. All right. So I'm assuming most of you know some of this information already. I know we talked about it in our orientation session, and you all have done your declaration requirements for the most part. But just speaking to the majors we offer in our department. So psychology obviously being the first one. And we're really going to be looking at the study of the human mind. We're going to be looking at development. Suha talked about the development of children. That could be in different stages. We're looking at functionality. And we're also looking at how the mind reflects in behavior in given context, whether that's social, whether that's individual experience, and a lot of other components there. Cognitive science is more interdisciplinary. So a lot of your upper division coursework, everything, things are going to be in psychology. There's no like search for cognitive science coursework. But some of those requirements include exploring different departments and taking interdisciplinary electives in other departments. So cognitive science, we're looking at the study of thought, memory, perception, language, AI, artificial intelligence. This is super cool. And obviously the human mind. And those different subfields and topics are going to overlap with a lot of our departments on campus. And subsequently, that's going to make your experience more interdisciplinary, which is really valuable. So you could be looking at courses in the philosophy department, anthropology, linguistics, computer science, and a bunch of others as well. Awesome. So here's our lovely little roadmap. Some of you might have seen this last time. Our goal is to get you to the end where you're holding your diploma. You're like, woohoo, I graduated. But right now we're at the beginning. You all are transfer students, so you've done your declaration requirements, or you're like one class away from doing that. So as soon as you're ready to declare, you're going to do that. The deadline for you all is the end of your winter quarter. But majority of you can probably declare during your fall quarter at some point, and we'll go over what that process is, what that looks like, and that's what our team of advisors is here to support you with. So myself, Ryan, and Julia will walk you through that process and appointments, drop-ins, and just assist you through that. Psych 100, a lot of you should be in that course. If you use your permission codes and all that good stuff. It's a really important foundational course for the rest of your upper division coursework. If you're not sure what an upper division course is, that's essentially anything with a course number of 100 to 199, which is the majority of what you'll take during your second 2 years of your academic career, which is where you all are right now. You'll also have a senior seminar incorporated into those upper division courses. So that's kind of like an exit capstone requirement for you to graduate. And then hopefully you'll be, I know you will be at the end walking the stage, taking a picture of Sammy the Slug with your diploma, and it's going to be really exciting. But we're here to help you all on that journey and get you to that point. And I'll go ahead and hand it over to my colleague Julia to talk about some of our major information.
All right. So all of you are entering UCSC as proposed majors, and you'll eventually need to declare your major, like Paige mentioned. So for the psychology major, we have 3 declaration requirements, which are pre-calculus, intro to psychology, and statistics. If you already completed all your major preparation courses for admissions, then you should have already completed these 3 courses, and you'll be able to declare your major on or after the first day of class, which is this Thursday. And then we'll move forward and talk about cognitive science. So there's some slightly different requirements to declare cognitive science, which are calculus, programming, statistics, and Psych 20. You must earn a GPA of 2.8 or higher in these courses. If you've completed all of these, then you'll be able to declare your major on or after the first day of classes. Some of you may be missing Psych 20 though, and so you should have already enrolled in that for fall with one of the permission codes that we sent you. If you're taking Psych 20 in fall, then you'll be able to declare after you receive your final grade for Psych 20. And so Ryan will go ahead and talk about how you actually declare your major.
All right, thank you. So I'll be repeating what Julia said a little bit here. But if you are required to declare, you can follow the major declaration process via our website. It involves asking for an academic plan and ultimately going through a technical process on your own on My UCSC. All of you are required to declare by your second quarter here, which is winter 2024, as transfer students. You are eligible as suggested to essentially petition now, or at the end of the week, technically. At least in the case of psychology majors, those of you who still need to work on your Psych 20 requirement, don't forget that you're going to need to declare once your grades come in, okay? For psychology majors, it will also, during the process, it'll ask you to select a catalog and a concentration, so general or intensive. So make sure to review the options that are available to you, or speak to an advisor about what you think, what they think you should do. To have your declaration process before the enrollment period for winter, which might be valuable depending on what courses you're going to need to take, you want to begin the process for declaring sooner than later, and definitely by the deadline of Friday, October 27th. Moving on to what to expect after. Once your declaration is complete, you'll receive an email from us with your signed official academic plan. And this plan is saved in a shared folder with all of the other departments and colleges here at UCSC. It's only viewable by you and editable by us, but you are more than welcome to make a copy for yourself and play around with it as you see fit. When preparing to declare, you are welcome to visit Drop-In Advising and either ourselves for the next couple of weeks or our peer advisors after that can work with you one-on-one to create a personal plan. This wouldn't necessarily be the official plan, but it'll be one that you could use to basically give yourself an idea of what is going to be expected of you. Anyone can attend Drop-In Advising or schedule an appointment with one of us if you have questions about your official signed academic plan. So at any point in time, you need to make changes. If you said you're interested in adding a major or minor or something like that, speak with us and we can make the necessary adjustments to the official plan. And talking about pass, no pass. I get a lot of questions about this. As you take all these courses know that you can take classes pass, no pass, but with respect to the required courses for declaring, we expect a letter grade. Most of you have completed these already, but be mindful for those of you taking Psych 20, take it for a letter grade. Anytime after that, all the courses are available to you. You can take pass, no pass. What that basically means is, as opposed to an A, B, C, D, or F, you'll either get a P or an NP, and it doesn't affect your GPA. So that's pretty much the main benefit. It doesn't affect your GPA one way or the other. So if you're just trying to get the course out of the way, if it's an elective of some kind, or you just really want to make sure that your GPA doesn't go fall down because of a hard quarter, you can choose to pass, no pass. And the deadline for that is usually somewhere close to finals, so you do have plenty of time, but do be mindful that there is a deadline. Also, you need to be mindful of the university's expectations that you cannot exceed 25% of your total credits earned with pass, no pass. Now, as I suggest, you could take all our courses pass, no pass if you want to, but you do need to make sure that you're not exceeding the university's 25% limit either. And it's also nice to be mindful of any graduate expectations. If you want to go to grad school, it's probably better to take courses for letter grades, earn a quality GPA that way. And I'm going to pass it on to, I believe, Paige. The next slide. Or maybe this is me too. I think I'll do this one. As a reminder, for winter 2023 and beyond, you will begin to enroll in courses entirely on your own. So as opposed to getting ad codes from us like you've been up till now, you just need to be really, really mindful of your assigned enrollment appointment. The exception for permission codes will come about in the event that you absolutely cannot enroll in a course that you need, or any courses for that matter. We will send out a permission code survey around the enrollment period each quarter, and you can fill it out to request a permission code at that point. declared transfer students will be eligible for one permission code through the survey. And once you reach senior standing, you'll, which is about 135 credits total, you'll be eligible for 2 permission codes per quarter at that point. And that's designed to just help you make sure that you stay on track. Once you reach a senior standing, I'll say that it won't be as difficult for you to enroll on your own in any case. But if there's a particular course that you absolutely need to complete that's full, you could use the petition to make sure that you get in the seat and meet the necessary major requirements. And now I believe I'm going to pass it on to Paige.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. So this page here is a little bit of a snapshot of our psychology advising website page, which I encourage you all to explore, navigate. Ryan and other members of our team did an amazing job updating our website. So it's a lot more user-friendly and should be a little bit easier to navigate for you all. So I encourage you all to kind of explore that. That's where you'll be scheduling appointments, viewing our drop-in calendar, which I'll show you in a second. But all these fun graphics with Sammy the Slug basically are just indicating different things that we're offering. So in terms of our availability, so this Thursday is the first day of instruction, so we will be on campus that day. And then the following week we'll begin our hybrid schedule, and that just means we'll be in person Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on campus. So those days, you can schedule in-person appointments with us, which we highly encourage you all to do, just because we want to meet you all, have a conversation, meet you face-to-face. We are still offering those virtual options. We do have a general email, that's SciADV, and that goes to all of us. So we don't use our personal emails, so please don't use those. Send it to our general email and then one of us will answer it. We have our drop-in advising calendar, which I'll show you in a second, and that will be run by our peer advisors once we onboard them for the fall. And that's just an opportunity to get some quick questions answered. And if you find you need a more lengthy appointment, you can schedule an appointment after that. Appointments will also be scheduled through Slug Success, which sometimes people have a little bit of difficulty navigating. So we have a guide on our website of how to schedule those appointments, and you can do those up to a week in advance. Awesome. So here's another screenshot here. These really helpful buttons will take you to where you need to go. So for example, if you click on the appointments tab, it will take you to a page that I'll show in a second that shows your 3 advisors' lovely faces and what we call our alpha split. So essentially we meet with students in certain last names. If you're unable to meet with your kind of assigned person, that's okay. But if you are able to, that's helpful just because it makes it a little bit more consistent with communication, but you're more than welcome to meet with all of us. Again, the drop-in calendar will be viewable from here, and then some of this field study information, which we'll go over in a second. But hopefully these updates will make it a little bit more user-friendly for you all. And this will be under the undergraduate advising tab, and you can see there's a variety of sub-tabs under here to explore. This is the drop-in calendar. So actually today I'll be hosting drop-ins from 11:15 to 12. And all of the Zoom link information is going to be in this drop-in calendar as well. And make sure you're signed into your UCSC email when logging in, otherwise it will prevent you from joining the meeting. So you might recognize the lovely people on the right. So there's that alpha split I was talking about. So for example, I meet with students with last names A through G-O. So if your availability works with mine and you fall under that last name, awesome. And then you can see Ryan and Julia's availability as well. Awesome. And I will go ahead and hand it over to Carrie to talk a little bit about our field study program.
Hi, y'all. As I mentioned before, I'm the director for field study. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Psych Field Study program, as well as some other independent study options that we have for students. And so how field study works is it is available to all juniors and seniors regardless of your major. So psychology, cognitive science, intensive psychology, all are eligible to be involved in the field study program. You do have to be in good academic standing, and you do have to have a grade posted for Psych 100 when you apply. And that the reasoning behind that, just because a lot of students ask, is because you will be students that are, like, for example, applying this quarter to be involved in field study for winter, spring, will be interviewing with companies this quarter and be actually signing a contract with that company this quarter. And so that's why I want to make sure all your prereqs are actually fully completed before you sign on to work with any of our organizations. When you to participate in field study, you attend a field study info session, and then you also submit an application. And basically, once you attend the info session, I send out the link to the application to everyone who's attended a session. And then once you're admitted, you get access to a database where you can see all the available internships. They do vary quarter to quarter, depending on how many interns are already at a placement, or just based on that organization's needs that quarter. You won't, some of the examples that you see on our website of the types of positions available aren't necessarily always available each quarter, just so you know. But I do normally kind of give you a snapshot of some of the things that are available during the info session. So when you come to the info session, you'll get an idea of the type of positions available. And so you'll be able to decide if something seems interesting to you. And then basically, once you've gotten into the program, you see the list, the students get to decide, what are their top 3. Normally, I recommend applying to 3 organizations and then kind of going through the interview process and seeing what offers they get, and then deciding on what their preferred opportunity is. And so I do have a variety of positions available within, like, developmental, social. And then we do have some clinical positions available as well. You can imagine that there's a lot of competition for those clinical spots. So keep that in mind too. I tell students that the more open and broad your goals are when you come into field study, the more likely you are to find a position to participate in, basically. And so if you just keep more focus on your professional development in general, and instead of just a specific position, that's really helpful. When you're in field study, you do work with a faculty sponsor. And so you'll be basically given a structure for an assignment. A lot of students do annotated bibliographies, particularly the first quarter. And then at your site, you'll be doing 10 hours per week. So you'll be doing roughly 100 hours each quarter. I think we're ready for the next slide. And then, so the info sessions for this quarter are coming up at the end of the month. And so just so you know, so if any of you did take Psych 100 over the summer, you would be eligible to attend the info sessions. You can also attend too, even if you haven't taken, or if you're in Psych 100 right now, you're welcome to attend just to hear more about field study. But just know you won't be able to apply until winter quarter for field study if you are currently in Psych 100. Okay, next slide. And then other educational opportunities. So you have some other independent study opportunities while you're here at UCSC. And I don't manage these, but I help coordinate students' enrollment in them. And so advanced research is an opportunity to become an RA in a lab. And so all of our faculty communicate with our department and let us know when there is the position available in their lab, and we post it so that everyone can see on our website. And I'm sure we'll share the link with you, or we can share the link with you later on in the Q&A if someone's interested. But a lot of the positions do require that you have completed Psych 100, but not necessarily all. There are always exceptions to the rule. So when you look at the listed available postings, you can see what the qualifications are that the faculty and or grad student are asking for, and then, determine if you've met those qualifications, and then reach out to, usually it's the grad student, to express your interest in the position. But these are all a great opportunity to kind of see, if research is what you're interested in. A lot of students like to kind of participate in both, actually, field study and research, because they're not sure if they want to end up in a research position or in a more applied setting. And I strongly encourage you, if you can, to make room in your schedule for both, so that you can get that full experience and decide what works for you, or what direction you feel pulled in. And then the senior thesis is the other opportunity. So if, let's say, you're in a lab and you come up with a question in collaboration with your faculty member, you might move on to making that a senior thesis project. And so students can participate in a senior thesis project for up to 3 quarters. And so, like I said, you don't kind of come up with a question on your own, but it's usually a situation where you're coming up with it in concert with a faculty member that you already know via working in a lab, or someone that you've had maybe a class or 2 with, but you've developed a relationship with. So these are just a couple of the opportunities available. If you are an intensive psych major, know that these are the opportunities that you would participate in. You have to do 2 quarters of either field study, research, or senior thesis. But know that, again, all the majors can participate in these opportunities. You do not have to be an intensive psych major to participate. And so I think I'm going to turn it over to Paige to talk a little bit about the global learning opportunities available. I did it again.
No worries. So global learning can be a very meaningful addition to either your psychology or cognitive science degree. Both majors are very flexible in accommodating study abroad plans. So if you're interested in seeing how you can explore the world while also earning major credit at the same time, definitely reach out to us and the global learning team. The sooner you reach out, the smoother the process will go. The global learning team has their own very informative website, and we also have a page on our website about global learning specifically for psychology and cognitive science majors. And then the global learning team will be hosting some events this welcome week. Some have already passed, but some are coming up, so definitely check those out if you're interested. There's also some information on the bottom of the slide with a QR code about how to make a profile on the global learning portal. So that would be your first step in moving forward with this process. And then I'll pass it on to Paige to wrap things up.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia. And thank you, everyone. One thing I will say, just a little pro tip. I know there's a lot of welcome week events going on. Today is the Boardwalk Frolic, which is one of my favorite memories. But if you don't go to anything else, at least go to Cornucopia, which is today. Or maybe Boardwalk Frolic might be at another time. But go to the Cornucopia because all the student organizations are going to be out there. And you can really just check out which clubs look interesting and just see what's going on. So that's a really important one to get some more information. So I'll go forward here. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you were here for orientation, this slide might look familiar. But if you forget some things, I do want you to leave with these pointers. Check your UCSC email. Please, please, please. This is because we're only going to communicate with you through your UCSC email. We're not going to not respond to you if you send it from a different account, but we're going to then CC your UCSC email and likely ask you to use it. The reason being is because your instructors will communicate with you through that. Financial aid, pretty much everything on campus is only going to use your UCSC email. So please save that personal Gmail for family and friends and just make it a practice to only be using your UCSC email when communicating with us. We do have psychology department newsletters, so be on the lookout for that. Those will be on our websites. Meet with us. Myself, Julia, and Ryan, we're a team and we really want to meet with you all and help you along your journeys. So even if it's a simple question and the appointment only lasts 5 minutes, that's also valuable. So if you think like nothing's a dumb question, trust me. So just come meet with us. If you can't come in person, that's amazing. But we're here to support you all. Another really underutilized resource is office hours. Professors are kind of required to go to a designated location and have office hours, which essentially is when students come and ask any questions. My instructors always told me they were lonely when I was a student because no one ever came. And this is a really awesome resource because you can network with professors about research opportunities. So you can go to Ben's office hours and be like, Ben, tell me about your research. Same with Suwa. And of course, then just ask questions about assignments if you're unsure for example, like how to do citations for a paper. They're going to know how to do that because they're the one that assigned it. So that's a really important one to use. Go to class. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We are on the quarter system, so it does move fairly quickly. So missing one lecture is quite a lot. Obviously, if you're sick or there's an extenuating circumstance, that's different. But go to class. It's all interesting stuff. We want you all to be successful. And lastly, just a little social media plug. Follow us on Instagram. We've revitalized our Instagram, so we're excited for you all to join us on that platform. We still have a Facebook. I don't know if anyone here uses Facebook still. I just like my mom's posts. That's about it. But we have that as well, and our Google group that you can join as well. And then let's go here. So a couple upcoming things. You all probably saw this if you were here for orientation. We're still coordinating the exact date of our faculty advising fair. So stay tuned there, and we'll post the updated information on our Instagram and website once we get that solidified. That'll be an opportunity for students to kind of walk around, connect with faculty, and learn about their different research. And then you might recognize the lovely people on the right again. So we'll be doing a student experience panel in person on October 5th. This will be in 121 in Social Sciences 2, so the same building that our office is in. Our office is 273. So it will be myself, Julia, and Ryan. We're all alums. Julia and Ryan in Psych, and me in Literature and Education. But we'll just be talking about our experiences as UCSC students, and we'll also be joined by Savannah, who's our lead peer advisor and is currently an intensive psychology student, to provide her insight. So we look forward to seeing you all there. It'll be pretty casual. We're just gonna have a conversation, have time for questions. So we look forward to seeing you all there. So that kind of wraps up the presentation portion. So let me just unshare really quick. And now, we can use the Q&A feature. You all are also welcome to virtually raise your hand and unmute yourself. If you want to do that, that'd be great. So we can hear people talking. But if you're not comfortable with that, that's totally fine too. Let's see. Okay, Julia is typing an answer. Okay. Someone's asking about taking community college classes concurrently. Yes, you can do that. It's just a matter of kind of managing your course load. Just because if you're in 15 credits with us, and then you're taking a community college course, but that's something students do fairly frequently. Yes, so you can do that concurrently. Sophie, oh yeah, it's a great question. So how can you see how many credits you have so far? So on your student center, there should be a spot, on our advisor view, it's labeled student statistics, but there should be a spot that says something like that that will list your amount of credits. It will only add in the credits once you receive grades for those courses. So if anyone did summer courses, for example, and they have now received grades, that's going to include your community college credits plus those. So you can kind of anticipate your credit count as the quarters progress. You can kind of add 15 on, assuming we're passing all those classes. But it should be there on your student center somewhere. I just can't identify exactly what the feature is.
It will be on the degree progress report, sort of near the bottom. There's a section for statistics that will eventually update your cumulative credits. And now be mindful that those are still being processed right now by the registrar. We're expecting to have everything updated maybe by the end of fall. So if you don't see it now, don't be surprised, but it'll eventually populate with your coursework.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. It looks like we have a question about field study. Carrie, if you wanted to answer that one.
I think my connection is a little bit slow, so my questions aren't popping up as fast. So if you can tell me what the question is.
No worries. Yeah. So someone's asking if they're guaranteed field study positions, or should they apply for both field study and research opportunities just in case?
So I think this goes back to what I was talking about as far as your goals when you go into field study. So I will say, like, a lot of the students, if they have more broad goals just about their own professional development and not necessarily set on like one specific internship, they're more likely to find a placement. I can't fully guarantee that if you're admitted to field study, you're going to find a placement that you like. So if that's the case, some students do choose to reapply again another quarter and kind of try again to get the position that they're looking for, or, you know, hope for another position that comes open. And so that's definitely like a possibility. But the majority of the time, I will say, if you're willing to keep your options open and you take my advice and apply and reach out to at least 3 positions, 3 placements, those students normally will find a placement. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. It looks like there's a kind of another question related. Someone's asking if they're currently enrolled in Psych 100 for the fall, how should they prepare for field study in the meantime? I think you kind of touched on that before, but if there's anything else.
I mean, you will have to submit a resume with your application. So if you want to prepare, one good way you could do that is make sure to check out the Career Success Office during your first quarter. They offer resume review services. So start getting your resume in order and then submit your resume so that you can have them or their peer advisors review that and get back to you with feedback. That way it's kind of like ready to go for you when you're actually applying to the program.
Definitely. Awesome. What advising do we go to get our 2-year plan advised? Great question. So yours truly or Ryan and Julia. You can also come to our drop-in advising hours. But the website kind of screenshots we showed you all, you can schedule appointments with us like right now if you want to on the website. We have in-person and virtual options. If you can come in person, that's always great. Just because we want to see your faces, but obviously those virtual options are still going to be available. And we can answer those questions then and create kind of a preliminary plan for you all. You'll be able to have an official plan fairly soon once you're eligible to declare, but in the meantime, we can kind of plan out future quarters. And Julie, I hope that kind of addresses your question as well about winter quarter and moving forward with your coursework. That's what those academic plans are designed to do. And typically having a meeting with us, with an advisor, makes it a little bit easier to go through. Instead of us just kind of creating a plan and sending it to you, kind of having a discussion about why things are where they are, kind of clears up any confusion.
Paige, if one thing, it looks like the audience doesn't see any of the questions until someone responds or clicks on it. Just so it can be a bit hard to follow because we don't know what question you're responding to always until you respond.
Interesting.
Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ben. Interesting. From my experience, I always was able to see it as an audience member. Okay. Yeah. So thank you, Ben. I'll go ahead and read the questions before. Thank you for that. So Jennifer is asking, can you talk more about enrolling for classes and petitioning, going back to the slide that Ryan talked about? So Ryan, if you want to jump in here.
Yeah, so sometime around enrollment, be mindful again of your enrollment window. That's going to be available in your My UCSC portal. I don't know exactly when, but you will be assigned an enrollment window for winter, for example, or any following quarter. Somewhere in the middle of that, we're going to send out an email. So be checking and reading your emails, especially from the psych department. You can expect anything from us, from SciADV, to be important, okay? That'll be your chance to get a link to the survey. It's basically just a Google form you fill out, where you basically express which kind of course you're interested in taking, or what specific course you're interested in taking, or need specifically. If you're like reaching the end of your career and the only thing you need is a cognitive course, you can express that. And hopefully we will follow up after all the surveys have been submitted by providing you permission code so you can enroll in the courses that you need. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, it's essentially if you get stuck and you can't get into a course all by yourself, then we will try to help you out. But you do have to follow up with the survey. Don't expect to just email us and ask for a permission code a couple weeks before the quarter starts. By then, you're out of luck. Okay, so be very mindful of your emails and follow up with that survey.
And Wendy, did you want to add something?
Yes, so I'm just going to add for enrollment appointments for future quarters. They will be posted in your My UCSC, and it will be posted when advising week starts for the following quarter. So for winter advising week, that starts on November 9th. So that should be when you can expect to see your enrollment appointments in your My UCSC account. If you don't have an appointment, it's usually because you have a hold of some sort, but you can also see your hold in your My UCSC account as well. And that could be financial holds, any variety of holds you could see in your account. So if you don't see an appointment by November 9th, then you'll want to reach out to us and your college advisors to see what might be up. But for all future quarters and all future enrollment dates or enrollment periods, your appointment will be posted on that first day of advising week.
So thank you, Wendy. Yeah, so pretty much it's kind of a practice you'll get used to at certain points. Usually it's around like week 6-ish, 7, around that time. You'll be enrolling for the next quarter. And you'll have an assigned date and time. And the time also matters. So you want to give yourself the best opportunity to get those courses. So setting an alarm, sometimes the times are really random, like 10:40 a.m. I think that was my time one time to enroll. So just making sure you're cognizant of that and having things in your shopping cart in advance. Looks
I
like
think
someone's
there's a couple, Paige,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, there's a couple field
Yeah,
study
go
questions,
for it.
I think, that are in the Q&A now. So let me just try to run through some of those. I got a DM too. Are any of these positions paid? Yes, some of them are. I will say still probably the majority of them are not, which is one of the reasons that I'm starting this quarter for the first time participating in Giving Day and creating an internship fund to hopefully get some additional funds rounded up for students that are participating in unpaid internships. So I do understand the struggle there. We do have some, like I said, but most of them are still unpaid. Someone else asked, are there more tech AI oriented programs as opposed to clinical? So I will say, I'm assuming that you might be a cognitive science major, the person who asked me this question. And there are certain classes that you can take, right? As a cognitive science major, you're choosing to take AI, linguistics, philosophy, or like a bio emphasis. And so we don't necessarily have options available for all of those placements because honestly, a lot of those kind of positions might need more specific training than just the psychology classes that you'll be taking. And so as far as AI, we do have 2 internships available. And that's pretty much it. And that's because we do have one of the founders of the organization we work with was a cognitive science major. And then they went on to get their PhD in one of our engineering programs at UCSC. So that's why they're a little bit more open to working with our students. But I will say even that the students that are selected for that position particularly usually have already had some experience taking classes in the computer science department, have a minor in computer science or working towards a minor in computer science. But it's usually not just students that have strictly only taken psych classes. It's students that are taking also some computer science courses or have some experience prior to UCSC where they've worked in those kind of fields or taken those classes before. So you're more likely to find like social, developmental, clinical options within field study at this time. And then as far as someone asked about job opportunities on campus related to psych, if you reach out or if you connect with the Career Success Office, that you can find a link to the Handshake page. I don't know if you haven't heard about Handshake already. Handshake is kind of the platform for all things job internship related. All jobs are posted there. So I highly recommend you sign up for that. You can create a saved search so that you kind of can put in some keywords that when things come up that connect with that, you automatically get emailed those things. So strongly encourage you to access that. And that's the best way to kind of see some of the positions that might be available on campus and even off campus. And I think there was one other one that I saw somewhere. Oh, can I do an internship that isn't on the UCSC database? You can, and students have. But generally, what I have you do is once you're admitted to the program, you would submit to me information about that particular option that you're thinking of, and I would connect with that placement to kind of see what the position entails, if the supervisor would be supportive of being kind of your, not your sponsor, but kind of being a mentor to you while you're there during your time, because it's not just you kind of clocking in for your 10 hours, but it's supposed to be kind of a developmental experience for you too. And so if I can verify those things, then yes, I could definitely approve the placements. I think that was it. Do you all see anything else for field study right now?
Is work study separate from field study?
Yes. As far as I know, we don't have any of our internships that are work study approved. So your work study, they have to fill out specific paperwork so that they kind of fit in with your FAFSA and all that stuff. I'm not really sure on the particulars. So as far as I know, we don't have any of our internships that are connected with that. All right, Paige, welcome to other questions if they're, I'm sure they're on there.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. All right. So it looks like Suwa was addressing a question about how do you enroll in Psych 194, which is like a research position. So that would be one, you would need to coordinate and see if the position's available. And then Suwa provided a couple links on how you do that. And essentially you would be given like kind of like an ad code, a class code by the professor, but that's something we can worry about a little bit later, but it is a little bit different than just like enrolling in a course. What will be the order of which enrollment appointments are sent out? Yeah, it's a good question. So they're based on a variety of things. So students that have accommodations through the Disability Resource Center typically have prioritized enrollment appointments. Following that, sometimes athletes as well for schedules, and then the higher standing you are, the earlier enrollment appointments you get. So for example, juniors and seniors will be enrolling before first and second years. And that's because you all are nearing graduation, so you need to get your coursework. So I can't really determine exactly when yours is going to be, but it's going to be designated by the amount of credits you have, your level of standing, and if you happen to have any accommodations. Let's see. Ryan and Julia, do you want to take any of these?
Someone asks if you are intending to major in intensive psych, are there any non-psych courses that you would recommend? I'm going to share a link in the chat to our outside course list. Now you are, as a general or intensive psych, you are required to take at least one upper division outside course from one of the departments listed in this link, or one of the specific courses listed in the link. Keep in mind that some of these departments have prerequisites for their upper division courses. So if you're particularly interested in one, like say anthropology, courses you might need to take are like Anth 1, 2, and 3. If you want to take theory of evolution or something, 101. And that's true of many of them, but not all of them. If you really just want to get that particular course out of the way, I'll say that courses in feminist studies, in critical race, and some education courses, they don't have prerequisites. You can just take them outright. Yeah, and in general, I don't know, I'd say depending on what area you want to go in, if you're going into research, you know, obviously statistics courses and programming courses are going to be very valuable to you. And I don't know if you're going into, I guess let me say this. One of the reasons we require this assignment of an outside course is that, you know, many departments cover the same kind of material, but from very different lenses with different perspectives and approaches. It's just in general, it's a really good thing for you to sort of experiment with that, to approach, say, development from an evolutionary standpoint through anthropology or biology, things like that. That's the best example I have, really. But generally speaking, you can gain a better understanding and perhaps even greater tools for writing your papers if you explore other departments that cover similar subjects.
Let's see. Wendy, do you have any insight on Jennifer's question regarding enrolling in upper division coursework when grades are still pending for Psych 100?
So what happens with the enrollment system, like say if you're taking Psych 100 in the fall, the enrollment system will recognize any courses that you have in progress that may be prerequisites to other courses. So a lot of our upper division psychology courses do require Psych 100 as a prerequisite. So the enrollment system will allow you to enroll even though you may not have a final grade right now for the fall quarter. However, the only caveat to that is if you do not pass Psych 100 in the fall, you will get dropped from any courses that have it as a prerequisite in the winter. And that goes for any courses that are prerequisites. So say there's Psych 20, most of you have completed your major prep work with statistics and math. But if you still do have those in progress at UCSC, the system will also recognize those prerequisites and will do the same, unfortunately, if you don't receive a passing grade in those prerequisites. So that's just something to keep in mind and something to be aware of as you work on your enrollments. And I do also recommend just consistently also checking your My UCSC to make sure that your schedule is up to date and that you're, when you're working on your enrollments for winter, that you do have your prerequisites in order, that maybe your transfer credits are in. But like I said, for Psych 100 specifically, the system will recognize that you do have it in progress and will allow you to enroll as long as you meet all the other prerequisites.
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. And we have a couple questions in the chat about our graduate program. If we offer a PhD or a master's. So our program is a PhD program. However, you'll be getting a master's also during that time, if that makes sense. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but typically with PhD programs, at some point you also receive a master's along the way. So you wouldn't be able to just get a master's. It's kind of a commitment through, but we do have a graduate program coordinator for the psych department that you can contact, and she can give you a little bit more information about that. But if any of that was incorrect, someone just let me know. But typically with PhDs, you get a master's at some point, and then you're continuing through your dissertation onwards towards PhD. Okay, so we have about 1 more minute here. I'll just leave the Q&A open for any last minute questions here. Will our attendance be recorded? No. This is not, we're not like taking roll or anything like that. But this is really important information that oftentimes gets lost in translation as the years progress. And we just want to make sure you all are on the right path and also understand how to schedule appointments, which many people don't know how to do, which creates a barrier. So no, we will not be taking attendance. If you do not intend to go all the way to a PhD and just, so no, that wouldn't be a thing unless if anyone else knows, but you wouldn't be able to just get a master's and then stop I mean, like you can withdraw
I can jump in. So we have a PhD program here with, and you can apply to the PhD program. Students who are enrolled in it have the option of getting the master's along the way, but we do not have a terminal master's program. So you cannot apply to just a master's program.
Thank you, Ben.
It's exactly what you said.
Yeah, so it's a little, so along the way, you'll be getting a master's and then but we're really a PhD program. We don't have a master's program. You can't just like stop there and get a master's, if that makes sense. All right, so we're over time now. So I just wanted to thank you all again for joining us. We're really excited for you all. Just to reiterate, Thursday's the first day of instruction. Our team will be in person in the office, 273 at Social Sciences 2. And then the following week and the weeks after that, we'll be on our hybrid schedule. So we'll be in our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we encourage you all to schedule appointments with us in person if you can, but we have those virtual options. But we're really excited for you all, and congratulations again. And thank you so much for joining us.